What is up, guys? My name is Wenster. Welcome back to The Average Fighter. And I know it's been some time since we last did a video or an actual discussion video of some sort. I think the last video that I did was like about a week ago, and even at that it was a very short video, and it was just discussing the 500 subscriber giveaway, the details of that. And if you don't know and you guys are just checking out the channel for the first time, I'll make sure that you go watch that video, guys. I'll link it somewhere on the screen so you guys can go check it out, and make sure that you mash that subscribe button. I know it has been some time. There's a couple things I want to talk over you, some content that I want to bring to your guys' attention and what you guys think. Without further ado, let's jump into today's video. So first and foremost, as of late, Arizona has been seeing a lot more training, a lot more regular sessions with MVCI, Ninja Nam, Natsoi, Fizzy Cups, Reedman, Psychilic. A lot of people have been training a lot more and bringing a lot more fire back to the Marvel vs. Capcom community within Arizona. If I missed you, I'm sorry, but there is a handful of players. Now, all of this is being due to Undefeated. Undefeated is a Arizona Premier Tournament. It is closing its registration in about a week, maybe 2 weeks. I can't remember. I know he extended it. And so if you guys haven't registered and you guys are planning to come to Undefeated for whichever game, make sure that you do so immediately. There is going to be emergency registration, but I think it's like 10 bucks more. Could be wrong. I remember Angelic posting about it today. Make sure you guys check that out. There's been a lot more training, a lot more rigorous training. And even for me, I've been playing a lot more of online and, you know, trying to make sure my setups are in fact indeed correct to the most optimal, not in the sense of, you know, damage, but in the sense of lockdown. Me, Ninja Nam, and a lot more other players have been discussing, you know, what's the most optimal. And shouts out to Ninja Nam, man, one of the most hardworking Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite players in Arizona. He's the best player right now here. Shouts out to him to always motivate the scene and do what he can. He's been motivating the scene as a whole, really being its, you know, go-to man. Like, hey, Nam, I want to play, let me know. And I think the Arizona community is moving a lot more often than it usually does. Now, it goes without saying the game is very lackluster, we all know that, but there's a very committed scene here in Arizona, and if you guys are ever in town, let us know. We'll definitely play with you. And it really brings us to today's discussion. Since the whole Undefeated is coming up, a lot of people are practicing, I'm practicing. There's so much hype for it right now in Arizona, and I could feel it. You know, usually we don't see any posts at all. There's like threads, there's messaging groups, people are playing, and it gets me so hyped, gets me so happy to hear. It brings us to today's discussion in terms of, you know, how I train, what I practice, and also discuss with you guys, what do you guys practice? What do you guys think is the best optimal training? What do I think is the most optimal training? So without further ado, let's just jump into it today. When it comes to training, for my personal self, I always want to make sure that my combos are on point. Throughout time and throughout everything, I've always had somewhat of a problem with execution, and trust me, this makes no sense, but at the same time, I had decent execution. I'm not very clutch when it comes to making sure that my combos connect properly. When I'm feeling more pressure or more nerves, I remember when I'm playing a very tight, close match, and I can't clutch how to win because of my execution or I drop something. I feel like a loss of breath sometimes, and my heart is beating too fast that I can't control what I'm doing. That's something that I always have trouble with. So being in the training mode and practicing my execution is something that I always like to do, and it's really stress relieving at the same time. Like I said, I've been discussing a lot of training regimens with, you know, Ninja Nam, our local scene, and he always tries to bring up very specific points, like what do you do when you're doing acid rain, I always call it acid rain, rainstorm with Dante, and they push block, perfect push block, and then punish you. You always have to be ready for whatever your opponent's ready to do. So integrating that into my training regimen and making sure that if they do put perfect push block, I'm already out of that situation where I can't get punished. And I think that's the most optimal in my personal view, making sure that your combos are on point, where at the same time making sure that you know certain matchups that well is very important. Ninja Nam does play Nova Strange. There's not a lot of people who play Nova Strange. Someone just text me, and hopefully it doesn't ruin my train of thought. Oh yeah, it's really interesting to learn that matchup against Dante Ultron, because that's the team that I play. And also, you know, there's Natsoi, one of our Arizona locals, He's better known as the guy who donated like 2K to have Marvel on Sunday. Last Evo, he plays Hagar Dante. Very interesting matchup, and just learning those specific small details with certain characters could really push you forward in the bracket or make you that much better of a player. And just talking it out, I think Ninja Nam brought out a very important topic as well. Just right now, what the scene needs is talking and spreading the knowledge of what beats what and who beats who. I think it's really important, and he brings a really interesting point. I love talking about Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. I love talking about matchups. I think that's a really great aspect and a really great point that he brought up. Making sure that you know enough about the game that you know what to punish and what you can't punish. A good example is like Lariat. I did not know until recently that that move was completely invincible, and you could even make the invincibility longer when you cancel it into a super move. I didn't know that until I got punished with Hagar just the other day. And that's the point that I wanted to bring up. When it comes to my personal views on training mode, having the best execution and having proper setups with Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, because that's what this game really is centered, and making sure that you are fully aware of what is punishable and what isn't, and word of mouth are probably the biggest aspects right now, because the game, believe it or not, isn't a year out yet. Later this year in September it will be, and I think those are probably the biggest aspects when it comes to training mode. I definitely wanted to ask you guys, when it comes to training mode, what do you practice? What do you think is the most optimal? How often should we take a break, if any? What do you practice? What are your setups? What do you think is the best way to practice this game, and what are the ways that you practice it already? I definitely wanted to get your guys' feedback on that. Training mode is very important, and the only reason I'm bringing it up, undefeated, I want to make sure that I'm ready, and if you guys could give me a couple of pointers, I would greatly appreciate that. And if I could help someone out where they're at in their training mode, I would love to help. So if you have any questions, make sure that you comment down below, my guys. Also, that brings us to the last part of today's video. So as of late, like I said, I haven't been putting out a lot of content, and I do apologize about a lot of people I've been reading the comments. You guys enjoy the content, and I am literally baffled that people enjoy the videos that I like to put out, so it even motivates me more. But as of late, I haven't been too enthusiastic about making videos. I don't know if it's because, do I want to do it or do I want to play Persona 5? I have taken a break from Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. I know I was just talking about playing the other day, but for the most part, I'm not playing online too much. The only times I'm playing right now is when I'm going to locals. I'm trying to take a break for a little bit and reset my mind. I had like a couple of days off from work, really took a huge break. I wanted to talk about one more thing before we end it today. I had an interesting idea. When a tournament happens, there's this huge bubble of hype going around the tournament, and Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite is usually around that. Not in the sense of the hypest part of the tournament, but in the community itself is hype. Oh, there's a tournament going on, I gotta watch it. And I usually see people always tweeting about it. Sometimes there's upsets, sometimes there isn't. Like the most wanted match actually plays out. I wanted to talk about the brackets and maybe going over the brackets, how the tournament went over, who won grand finals, maybe a bracket discussion for every tournament when it does happen. I wanted to know if that's something that you guys would want me to do, go over the brackets for every individual tournament, how things progress, how it happened, how do I anticipate things to go down, and so forth and so on. Let me know what you guys think of the idea. I definitely want to bring more content that you guys actually enjoy. There's a couple other things that I'm working on right now. I'm full back into the mode of making content for you guys, cranking it out. I'm not trying to put too much. I don't want to oversaturate or overwhelm anyone, but at the same time, I want you guys to enjoy my content that I put out. Let me know what you guys think of the idea in the comments below, guys, and do not forget to subscribe. And one last thing, guys, remember that this is The Average Fighter, and my name is Wenster, and I will check you guys out later. Peace out. Like what the fuck was that? I don't know what the fuck. But later, guys.